Dear colleagues, good evening. Welcome to today's meeting. Just give me some feedback whether you can see and hear me. Meanwhile, I'll try to remove the microphone from my mouth, put it a little farther. Just tell me whether you can hear me well, whether there is no additional echo. You're saying everything is fine, it's good. You know, usually I try to put the microphone as close to my mouth as possible, thinking it would be better, but it seems like it works this way too. And we had a break. We took a break due to technical reasons in our live broadcast, but it was good because in the meanwhile we saw quite a lot of positive, inspiring news that we were going to discuss together, and I'm very glad that we have quite a lot of people, good audience today, around 100 people at least. And today we are going to someone is saying, can you please speak closer to the mic? Adiba is asking me to do that. But the majority of people can hear me well. So if you can't hear me well, probably try to boost the volume at your end. So today we're going to discuss a very important event that is happening in the year 2025, which you probably know about from the news published at the UST website, the String Technologies website. And today we are going to discuss the, let's say, urgent and interesting point for many, why it takes so much time for the string transportation technology to develop. And hopefully we will make a very adequate, reasonable conclusion that what has been done so far really didn't take a lot of time, and the path that the company took, or the journey that the company accomplished, is a really big journey considering that only 10 years have passed. Is everybody aware what I'm talking about? Has everyone read the news that was published in the last 2 weeks before today's meeting? So what is the biggest news, I guess, that happened, or event that happened early 2025? Who knows? This is my question to you, dear friends. And while you're answering, I would like to talk about the format of this meeting. We're going to talk for an hour, for 90 minutes probably. We will discuss first the news that we are going to start discussing right now, almost right now. And then at the end of the meeting, I will answer one of the topical questions of our partners who used to be SWIG clients regarding the transfer of their pre-IPO shares, because we received quite a lot of such questions after my last meeting, especially in the comments section on YouTube, where we host the recording of that meeting. And I would like to answer that question so you don't raise those questions anymore, because we have quite a lot of clients who are ex-clients of SWIG. So I want everyone to be happy and to find the correct, reasonable, adequate solution to your problem, to make sure that your name is entered into the registry of shareholders, so that you would have this certificate on your hand. We're going to talk about it in the second half of our meeting. I also announced that we were going to talk about the marketing plan, the compensation plan, but since we have, let's say, higher priorities right now, higher priority topics for today's meeting, the compensation plan will be discussed next time. And moreover, we're going to publish the recording of the closed meeting that we had last month in our back office. that was dedicated to the marketing plan. So if you didn't attend that meeting, just we urge you to watch the recording after we posted the recording dedicated to the compensation plan, so it will be easier for us to discuss it with you. So the question is still open. I saw just one answer from Alexander about the biggest news that happened in the last 2 weeks, or what was happening since early 2025. We have 101 people minus one person who is me, then we have 100 people listening to me. And does anyone know what kind of news I'm talking about here? Someone is saying, I'm curious to know when we're going to have the transition to the new platform. Well, I already mentioned it, but we're going to discuss it today too. It's going to happen somewhere in mid-March, but I will still go back to it. Alexander is saying, are you talking about the progress over the last 10 years of the company? Because that piece of news also mentioned 4 companies that went bankrupt. Well, yes, exactly. I'm talking about the article that discusses everything around the history of the creation of the company, etc., etc. I see questions and comments in the chat already. So let me remind you the rules of our meetings. We will take note of your questions, but please kind of listen to me and then try not to break the rules, okay? So I'm the speaker. I'm telling you the format of our today's meeting, and we will follow that format, the procedure. And usually, in the second half of our meetings, I always give people, the audience, a possibility to ask their questions. But if you're going to ask me questions while we're talking about something else, it's not going to be effective. It's not going to be adequate, and it will be distracting me as the speaker of the event. And it will always also be discussing other members, participants of this meeting who are listening and who will be distracted by the text messages that you write in the questions that you write in the chat. So guys, if you're writing something, then please do so as a reply to the questions I'm asking in the first half of our meeting. Whereas the time for your questions will be at the end of our meeting. We will dedicate 15-20 minutes to it, okay? So let's follow the procedure, please. So first, on behalf of our platform and RSW Systems platform and all of the clients who have been investors into the string transportation technology for many years, to congratulate the company String Technologies Inc. and UST on the active start of their activities strategically, because in 2015, the engineering company String Technologies Inc. Was founded in Belarus. And since then, the practical work has started on designing, producing, testing, and implementing the technology of the string transportation technology. And there was a whole article dedicated to it. And I'm sure that many of you have read it as soon as the news was published, but I would like you and I together to do it again. I will read it out for you because many of our clients do not always watch news or read news live. They usually go to our meetings, and therefore I will do that during our meeting, and you will be able to hear it from me here or when you watch the recording of this meeting. Because again, there are clients who do not follow the news on our website or the engineering company's website. They use such meetings as this to learn about such news, or again, the recordings of this video. So I will share my screen with you right now, and in the next 5 minutes, we will go back down the memory lane, and we'll see together the sheer scale of the project that many people had little faith in, that a lot of people criticized, and a lot of people even blamed the management of the company of like illegal activities, etc. But we will take a look at the facts and what happened over the last 10 years. Okay, friends, we are on our website, on the news page of our website, where we published the news from the UST, and we can read the news here. Or we can go to the UST if you want to. Can you see my screen? Please give me some feedback in the chat if I have indeed shared my screen. Good, good. UST, friends, Inc. Incorporated, 10 years from the first anchoring structures to the first targeted projects. So this nostalgia is something that we can talk about with pride, where it all started, how difficult that journey was, but how colossal and astounding effect has been achieved. 10 years ago, it all started with an idea. There were no production facilities, no testing grounds, and no international recognition. But there was a small team of motivated engineers inspired by Anatoly Yunitsky's vision. The world of transportation could be transformed. At that time, the concept of the string rail system seemed too bold to many people, and the future seemed full of challenges. And so it was. But years of hard work and belief in success proved that even the most incredible ideas can be brought to life if supported by science, calculations, genuine passion, and a desire to make the world a better place. Path to recognition. This journey is not only about creating a new type of transportation, but also about forming an entire industry. The path taken over these years is not just progress, it's a true technological breakthrough. Today, UST Inc. is an international engineering company with the status of a scientific organization, with its own engineering, production, and research basis. Partnerships at the state level have been established, and operational transport complexes have been built. Over a decade, a full-fledged infrastructure has been created, making the practical implementation of UST possible. Most importantly, the technology has reached commercial realization and is ready for scaling. A key milestone in the company's development was the opening of the Ecotechnopark in Marina Gorka. Here, test tracks were laid, string rail transport was tested, and its effectiveness was demonstrated for the first time. The center developed technical solutions, improved designs, and tested UPODs. Ecotechnopark became the platform where projects and ideas, once only on paper, took real shape. An important step was the creation of in-house production facilities and the establishment of an engineering center in Minsk. This allowed UST Inc. to develop and produce the main components of transport infrastructure complexes independently, without relying on external manufacturers. In other words, the company has become self-reliant, autonomous, did not depend on external producers, overseas producers. This was from me. Currently, the company has over 60 design offices. Just think about it, 60 design offices. And the total area of office and production facilities is around 20,000 square meters. Let me add something of my own here. You do remember a couple of meetings ago we did discuss that all of it is co-owned by us, because the owner of the String Transportations Inc. and all the tangible assets is Global Transport Investments. And we are co-owners of that company. So basically, all of it is our achievement as well, because we all contributed to the achievement of that huge result. Next. UST Inc. development reached a global level when the second test center, USky, was opened in Sharjah, United Arab Emirates. This was a major event in the international recognition of the technology. Working in the Emirates demonstrated the capabilities of string rail transport in the climatic conditions of the Middle East and confirmed the reliability and efficiency of the technology globally. This opened up prospects for negotiations with business and government representatives worldwide. Just pay note here, guys. At the how to better put it, natural resonance, or the fact that this technology can be implemented in diverse climatic conditions. Just take a look at the contrast. Here we have Minsk, Belarus, where cold can go as low as like minus 20 or even 30 degrees. Yet the transportation still works. All those cars can move in a safe environment with utmost safety for passengers. And then we go to a country where the temperature, the peak temperature, can be as high as 50, 60 degrees Celsius plus. So you see the difference in temperature is almost 100 degrees Celsius between two different regions. But the string transportation technology is capable of functioning both at minus 30 to plus 30 or even 50 degrees Celsius, which is indicative of the universal nature of this technology. So here you have like really harsh winter, and then you go to the Arab hottest desert, basically. Next, over the past 10 years, the test centers with operational UST complexes have been built. 15 models of U-Pods have been developed, capable of reaching speeds comparable to those allowed on highways. And one more thought or fact from me. Many people from the CIS countries know that in parallel with us, a Albus car was created. I did mention it during different webinars dedicated to the string transportation technology. And in the same time, in around 7, 8 years, that company developed this brand, created the car that can be called a business class car. And to create one car, it took them around 6 years, maybe even 8 years, but you can find that information on Wikipedia. And they spent many, many times more money to create a car that is very similar to a car created by any other car manufacturer. There is nothing innovative in it. Whereas here we can see that Dr. Initsky with his team was able to create, to develop, to produce, to certify, and to implement 15 models of U-Pods. And each of those models, in its unique nature and complexity in terms of designing and production, are way more complex than creating just a single car. And I can quote Dr. Initsky here, who knows his product, his brainchild, better than anyone, and he always says with full responsibility that all in all, building a UST transportation complex is even more difficult than building a airplane. So over 10 years, 15 such models were created, not just one model. Next. 15 models of U-Pods have been developed, capable of reaching speeds comparable to those allowed on highways, and this figure continues to grow. The company launched its first project for commercial transportation, U-Light. This complex successfully passed tests and demonstrated high efficiency under real conditions. Work is currently underway on several other targeted projects. We did discuss it recently that in December the first commercial project was launched, which is called Unilight, and it's successfully operating, has been brought into production and transporting passengers. But also it can transport local significance cargoes for that complex. So these achievements are the best proof that the key stages of technology implementation have been successfully completed. The company has not only brought the transport to the stage of real operation, but also proved its viability. This has dispelled the main arguments of the most fervent skeptics who claimed that the string rail complex could not be built or that the transport, if it did move, would be slow. And the main thing, they asserted that it would be impossible to bring the technology to the market. And that has been disproved. Indeed, the facts speak otherwise. We can see that every single complex and elements of the string transportation technology has been successfully certified, which can be attested by dozens, hundreds of different patents. And the company received recently yet another certificate for its products, which is released for 3 years for its operation. So the skepticism that people showed in the beginning, and I'm sure there are even people here who started cooperating with the group of companies in the form of investment crowdfunding, helping the company develop and bring into reality what they were doing. I'm sure those partners who started back then their investment activities might remember that there were a lot of people out there who hated us, who called us insane, telling us that this is all fake, it won't go, and if it goes, it will break down. And when they saw the first models, they said that it was all mock-up models made from cardboard. But then 3 years later, they saw a high-speed prototype, Unifresh, showcased in Germany on a fair, InnoTrans Expo, which is one of the biggest expos in the area of rail transportation. And that event happened only 3 years after the engineering company started its operations. And already back then, it was a huge achievement. Therefore, friends, the conclusion that we can make here is that the key technology implementation milestones have been passed. Next, UST technologies have gained international recognition. The company collaborates with government and business representatives in the United Arab Emirates, Belarus, Russia, India, China, the USA, the Indonesia, and other regions as well. This is coming from me directly. UST Inc. cooperates with organizations such as the Association of BRICS Plus, the National Academy of Sciences of Belarus, the Dubai Roads and Transport Authority, ITS Indonesia, iSky Transport Systems, PVT Limited, and Asia Mobility, the International Certification Organization, TUVSW, and many others. Indeed, friends, over the last years, the company has gained a lot of international partners, starting from the suppliers of different, not even components, but for example, producers of steel products. I think we're talking about Austrian companies here. The companies that have supplied and still supplying software, I'm talking about international companies here. Companies who are partners in terms of the delivery of different supply of different machines, CPU devices, etc. All of those companies are international level companies. And those of you who visited the production facilities of the String Transport Technology Inc., might have seen the high level of technological advances. And we're talking about here a huge number of international, truly international partners of our company. So UST developments are promoted by marketing representatives in the UAE, the United States, Russia, and Indonesia. The company holds hundreds, just think about it, of confirmed patents for inventions, industrial designs, and trademarks in dozens of countries. Over the last 10 years, UST Inc. has evolved from a startup with bold ideas to an international company with testing centers, production and engineering bases, and an implemented technology. Now a new stage is beginning: the scaling of transport complexes. In this direction, the company collaborates with government and business representatives, conducts negotiations, and, in some cases, has even started work on implementing targeted projects. Friends, if you do remember, one of the first videos made by the creator and the author of the string transportation technology, Dr. Initsky, said that in some time, when everything will be implemented that I just read you about, he said that the company will move from being an innovative company into an investment project. And right now, that stage has become active. It has been launched a couple of years ago, but right now we are in the middle of the implementation of that stage, of that milestone, in the middle of its implementation, which is very important to know, to be aware of, and to take account into. And as I told you in the beginning of the meeting, we will see whether it took us a lot of time or not to achieve that stage, that milestone. Just put a pin in that thought. Just remember what stage the technology is at. We're talking about the new milestone in the scaling of the technology. And we go back to 2014 when Dr. Initsky said a day would come when the technology will move from the innovative to investment project. Just remember it and we will come back to it. And in conclusion, it all began with an idea, drawings, and engineering calculations. So back in the day, it all started with an idea, blueprints, and engineering calculations. Now, what once seemed impossible to some has become a reality. 10 years ago, UST Inc. took the first step toward creating a new generation of transportation, and today this goal is closer than ever. So, friends, when I read this particular news, I kind of went back, on the memory lane. I remembered all the stages that have been implemented, and it seems like it all started yesterday. Just that it was just yesterday when the time capsule at 0 kilometer was put into the ground. If you remember that event, it happened in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. I remember it all just started. And then 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it seems like the first works started in the United Arab Emirates. I was lucky enough to be there at the, let's say, laying of the first kilometer at Square One. I remember Dr. Unitsky and me and others used the shovel to dig, symbolically of course, the pit for the first foundation, which was the beginning of the construction works. And I was lucky to be there in the United Arab Emirates. I remember I even recorded a video address to all of our colleagues saying that it has started, works have started, well, and everything related to it. And right now, dear friends, we're talking about a huge scientific organization working almost across the entire world. There was another piece of news published that representatives of Oman visited the R&D center in Sharjah. So the geography and the scale of cooperation, international cooperation, is growing, is expanding. And it seems like it happened yesterday. And whereas almost 10 years have passed. And now if we go to the comparison to competitors, what happened in the area of high-speed technologies, and we know when people told us that businessmen with renowned names will take over, will surpass us, and the string transportation technology will play the second fiddle, etc., etc. So let's see what happened with our so-called competitors over the same span of time. Just give me a second, please. This is going to be very useful for us because we need to understand where we are and what kind of thing we co-own. So how have UST and other new transport technologies have progressed over 10 years? A very good, very fair comparison between UST and other new transport technologies while the company developed. Let's see what happened to competitors. So since the founding of Unitsky String Technologies Inc., the company has come a long way over the past decade. During this time, the company has demonstrated the feasibility and applicability of its developments through the construction of transport and infrastructure complexes and the implementation of a project for commercial operation. How do these achievements compare to the development of other innovative transport companies over a similar period? We decided to compare the results of UST with those of several other organizations offering alternative transportation solutions. And the first example is a company founded in 2001, an Israeli company that creates aerial vehicles by urban aeronautics. So it tells you about its advantages, disadvantages. I think you read about it, that news. And I wanted to focus, I guess, your attention on the results, on that outcome. Over the 23 years of the existence of the company has only reached the prototype testing stage. In other words, we started testing our prototypes, if I'm not mistaken, in 2016, 2017. It was already during year 2 or 3 of the operation on the engineering company. Testing almost started right away after the production facilities have been set up. Whereas here, over 3 years, the company has only reached the prototype testing stage. Next, friends, a very renowned project of a very renowned businessman, Virgin Hyperloop, is Richard Branson's project. It's called Hyperspeed Transport by Virgin Hyperloop. Well, the technology of Hyperloop is quite a renowned technology. It's a technology, this technology was promoted by a quite a ambiguous personality, Elon Musk. And the Hyperloop was promoted by Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and there was a third player, but I don't remember its name right now, but the results were more or less the same. So let's talk about this particular transportation technology. We're not going to read everything written here about their advantages and disadvantages. We all know that moving in a vacuum tube is a technology that Dr. Unitsky back in 1970s, 1980s said, or better stated that this technology was possible, but then he turned it down himself because moving in a vacuum tube is a very dangerous thing, because if the ceiling is violated, then the human blood starts boiling. So it's not safe. So what has the company achieved since then? They started in 2014, well, almost the same year when the crowd investing for the UST technology started in order for the technology to be implemented. So in other words, the company has almost the same date of foundation, or the year when they started, almost the same. Therefore, what has what they can show for it? The stated speed has never been reached. The maximum was achieved 463 kilometers an hour, and this was without passengers. And they wanted to achieve 1,000 kilometers per hour. So the capsule itself, when the capsule itself was launched, in 2020, a test with passengers was conducted in Nevada, where they traveled at 170 kilometers per hour. Next, due to emerging challenges, Virgin Hyperloop decided to shift its focus from passenger transport to cargo, planning to launch commercial lines by 2027 at the latest. However, by 2023, the company announced its closure after 9 years of operations, having involved more than $400 million of investments. Dr. Yunitsky practically, with an amount half the size, implemented 10 times more. And we're already at the stage of implementing commercial projects. The company Virgin Hyperloop has nothing to show for it. It's closed its activities 2 years ago. Next, friends. A very, very renowned technology, we'll remember it, Skytran. I remember it was compared to, called an alternative to string transportation technology. Okay, let's take a look. How they ended up. The idea raised almost $80 million. It was supported by NASA and the defense company Israel Aerospace Industries. Plans included building a commercial network in Israeli cities, Tel Aviv, Herzliya, and Netanya, as well as roads to Ramon Airport. However, not a single project was implemented, and in 2023 the startup closed due to lack of funding, lasting 14 years. Next, high-speed train by JR Central. This is the Japanese railway company. So they decided to develop the maglev technology, magnetic levitation. This idea formed the basis for a long distance overhead passenger train. It took the company nearly 20 years before the maglev train reached the declared speed on the test track. What happened next, friends? The first commercial project for this technology was supposed to be a high-speed track Tokyo-Nagoya, and the tentative cost of this route was $55 billion. Just think about it. Work began in 2014 and was expected to be completed within 13 years, but construction faced difficulties. Local authorities opposed the construction of underground tunnels, which threatened to disrupt the ecology of mountain ranges and water bodies. Reaching an understanding has not yet been achieved, and the line's launch has been postponed until 2034. Thus, to date, only an 18.6-kilometer test section of the track has been implemented. In other words, over 20 years, they were only able to build a test track, and then they froze the project. Well done, ironically, of course. So this product also has drawbacks. We all understand we're talking about a huge, costly construction, massive and expensive structures, large-scale land acquisition for overpass supports, interference with established natural complexes. So out of everything I've listed here, the Israeli company, well, American plus Israeli, Virgin Hyperloop, next another Israeli flying machine. So maglev train probably is least environmental project that harms the environment most interfering with nature, like building tunnels, then land acquisition where no land should be allocated, etc. And we see the result out of it all. I would add here the project in the United States too, which they want to implement. They kind of spent hundreds of $millions there without having anything to show for it, and I don't think they will show anything for it. It's the same story over again, all over again. Same story, different day. Gulnara is asking something in the chat, but please remember we talked about the procedure. You're asking about the declaration of dividends, but are we talking about the declaration right now? No. So please do not interfere, okay? And do not distract me. We will have time for questions and answers at the end of our meeting. So please do not jump the gun and do not just break the rules that we established at the beginning of our meeting. Now let's take a look at the UST and modern transport above the ground. So everything that we've just discussed and saw, all the technologies that I've just mentioned, it's the market for potential high-speed transportation and the second level or above the ground transportation. So now let's take a look at the UST's place in that industry. These are just a few examples showing that not all alternative technologies have withstood the test of time and proving their effectiveness, while other innovative transport companies faced numerous insurmountable challenges. UST Inc. managed to create an entirely new form of above-ground transportation over a decade with unprecedented design and operational characteristics. This allowed the company to complete all stages of technology implementation in a compressed time frame for such a field and moved on to working on targeted projects. The UST transport and infrastructure complexes have confirmed their efficiency, reliability, safety, and environmental friendliness. The results achieved by the company demonstrate the viability and effectiveness of the product, making the further successful implementation of the developed technology possible. This is what we have, dear friends, as a huge achievement, what that has been achieved, made over the last 10 years. So now, friends, let's take a look at the most frequently asked questions and people saying that it's taken too long for the technology to be implemented, how it relates to all of the questions like where the dividends are going to be paid, remuneration is going to be paid, and everything related to the monetization and capitalization. So take a look, friends, listen. We've just given you an example of just 4 companies that had way more bigger budgets and bigger opportunities like Virgin Hyperloop. But even with their resources, both administrative and financial resources, they weren't able to implement what they stated they would implement in the beginning. 10 years. Israeli technology. 23 years. The American technology, together with Israel, same period. And now over that period, those companies, those technologies, not even reached the market. They were even either closed down, frozen, or still at the prototype testing stage of their rolling stock. Now, what does the group of companies UST have or obtained over the last 10 years? They have 2 R&D centers, certification testing centers, quite a lot of different assets, and we can give even more. Name even more operations activities performed by the R&D center in Belarus and Sharjah. And thanks to creating those 2 centers, the technology was brought to the market. So of course, I'm skipping here certification testing, but of course, it's very important. But already the technology is in the market, and the company now works on actual commercial projects, which means that we have moved, as Dr. Initsky used to say, that the day would come when the company will move from being an innovative project to an investment project. And right now, it's all happening right in front of our eyes. So, my friends, I have a logical question here. So why should we complain when we see that right in front of our eyes the technology was created, the technology was implemented, and there is a demand for this technology? Why should we complain or be surprised that it's taking too long? And the answer to this question is quite obvious. So let's go back to 2014, 15, 16, 17. A lot of people came as investors to the string transportation technology because they followed the hype, the trends of that time. Because back then there were quite a lot of financial investment companies that promised quick bucks, quick money, and fast payback periods. But usually it was all about financial pyramids, scams that cheated their people out of their money. And a lot of people perceived that project as such. But we see that the time put everything in its place and crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. And we see that the company that we all invested money in is a genuine, viable company with a true genius standing behind it, an inventor, the creator of the string transportation technology, who used our investments to implement this technology. And for that, in the near future, in the next few years, in the short perspective, we're going to have a return on all those investors just because we put our faith in the right and honest person, Dr. Initsky, and we didn't make a mistake. And back then, there were quite a lot of shady companies, organizations that promised mega profits and returns. But here we can see that the string transportation technology is backed by a huge economic potential here. Again, friends, let me repeat it, and I will never be tired of repeating it, because it's a technology that is shaping an entire industry. And it takes more than 2 and 3 years to create it. And I remember a comment to one of my previous videos. Someone wrote that we were waiting for it to be all implemented in 2017, 2018. So my question to such people is, how can you wait for anything in 2017, 2018, for any kind of returns and profits, if back then the technology was still in the development, under development? It never happens, according to the laws of economics, business, and production, that you get profits before going to the market with a ready to use product. Back then it was simply unfeasible, unrealistic. And that's why I'm discussing this topic at this particular angle. I know why people were waiting for returns in 2017, 2018, because they were misled by people who sold them pipe dreams, used wishful thinking, because they wanted to promote it. They wanted to earn, I guess, commission, and they did it in a not a very fair way and did not convey the entirely correct information. They misinformed people. I don't know whether they did it intentionally or unintentionally, but unfortunately it caused quite a lot of questions that people continue asking regarding the payout of dividends, the remuneration. So let's understand one very important thing. First, currently the engineering company is 10 years old and has celebrated its 10-year anniversary, and I would like to congratulate the general designer and the creator of the technology, Dr. Unitsky, from the bottom of my heart, on my behalf, on your behalf. And I would like to congratulate the director of the String Technologies in Nadezhda Kosareva for being the manager of such a huge company and for her work. a company with so many different bureaus, departments, design units, and it is under her management, leadership, that the company is growing, scaling up, and becoming taken its rightful place in the international market of transportation companies, in the technology transportation market. And I'm sure in the near future the company will become the leader as the technology that will rapidly be developing across the entire world. I would like also to congratulate and express my gratitude to the entire team of the engineering company, UST company, all the marketing representative offices, because every one of them is doing their job to the best of their abilities. And it's a unique case when Dr. Initsky, Nadezhda Kosareva put together a qualified team of high-level engineers, his students, after all, because we're talking about the whole institute here, this engineering school set up by Dr. Initsky to design, create, and scale up string transportation. And Nadezhda Kosareva, the CEO of the String Technologies Inc., set up a team of good managers to steer the marketing, the economic processes in the right direction, and promoting the business in general. And most curiously here, the management of the company represented by Dr. Initsky and Nadezhda Kosareva were able to set up a team of young engineers, young economists, financial experts, engineers, designers, because the average age, I think, is 35, 40 years old, which is young. When not talking about here, let's say, very senior citizens. Those people can contribute dozens of their years of their lives to make this technology better, to make sure that the idea of Dr. Initsky is implemented. And also, the company has achieved the status of a R&D institute, which is a big, big thing because it's a commercial company, and a commercial company can hardly become an R&D institute usually. Usually, government-owned, state-owned companies get such a status of an R&D. And in that particular territory, it's the first time ever. And this is a huge achievement as well, dear friends, over such a short span of time of the company's operation. So again, dear friends, on behalf of our platform, all of our clients, I would like to express gratitude to the management of the company and to all of the personnel for their productive work. And I would like to congratulate them on that anniversary, 10-year anniversary. And I hope that you will join with me in my congratulations. Someone says, congratulations to us as well with the 10 years anniversary of the company. Someone says, thank you. Yes, if you want to share your emotions, please do so in the chat. Don't be shy, because friends, it is our journey as well, in part, because we also contributed this way or another to the development of the technology, and by scaling up information, raising awareness, raising funds, by negotiating with potential investors, and so on and so forth. Alexander Nesson put it right. He says, we are responsible for the earth, and tomorrow children will thank us for it. Olga says, yes, there is reasons for us to be proud. Indeed, we are all part of it, and we all contributed to it. Remember, when talking about my story, how I became the investor into the string transportation technology, I did say that back then I told myself that this is something I can be engaged in for my entire life. And once I really realized that, I remember Dr. Initsky's words when he first introduced the string transportation technology. Well, it was not the first time. It was one of, the first speeches by Dr. Initsky, and he gave the example of a railway, that the railway is still developing. The technology is already 200 years old, yet the railway is still developing. The railroad is being built in different cities, different countries, new branches are being laid. And we see now the birth of a new technology in the transportation sector, innovative transportation technology. Right now, we have like 10 kilometers of string rail tracks, testing grounds. The first commercial project was launched, and very soon 10 commercial projects which will be launched. Then 25 commercial projects will be launched. And this is just the beginning. And that's why I'm saying that it will be something that we can be involved on for our entire life, because the development of the string transportation technology will be happening over the next 50, 100 years, and there will be dozens and hundreds of thousands of tracks. And we can be involved of it, participating in it for dozens of years, and then pass this business to our children and grandchildren. And I'm more than sure that a time will come when our crowd investing will be also used in the implementation of targeted commercial projects, individual commercial projects in different regions. There will be a time for sure when high-speed transportation will need funding that the company will be implementing in the US territory. That time will come and it will pass. There will be a time when the company will not need any more funding in the high-speed transportation. The company will reach its break-even point, will start receiving profits. It will happen in 3, 5, 7 years, but it will happen, and we can be still involved in it. But then, crowd investing will transform, or the focus will be changed. We will be participating in individual commercial projects, raising funds for individual projects. So the logic here is as follows. Right now, we showed to the entire world that a huge technology can be implemented with crowd investing. Why not use our huge community, investment crowdfunding community that we have on our platform? Also, our colleagues from Skyworld community are developing well. Well, let's take both of our communities that supported the string transportation technology. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people, millions, I guess, more than 1 million people for sure now. Why not take this community and not unite and together quickly fund an individual commercial project and have a stake in that project? I'm more than sure that this model will work and will prove its effectiveness in the future. So we should not underestimate what we're doing right now. We all understand the value of the string transportation technology as an innovation in transportation. But many of us, for some reason, well, I know the reason, but not everyone thinks about it, and for some reason underestimates our work. And it is for this reason that I initiated the rebranding of the platform to create comfortable, friendly compensation plan for people to be able to build their careers for dozens of years ahead, so that you could dedicate a couple of years to achieve a certain income, to build your career in that business, become a professional in sales, in creating your partnership network. And right now, I'm laying the foundation for achieving the next milestone, where we will start funding first the high-speed transportation to be implemented in the United States. And the next stage would be raising funds for individual commercial projects, for a stake in those companies. So we need to understand the potential of the development of the string transportation technology, and in parallel, the development and the prospects of the investment crowdfunding model, or crowd investing. We can call it this way as well. So friends, I would like to urge you to think about what you are going to do for the next years. the next few years, how you're going to implement your goals, achieve your goals, how you're going to move to the next income level. Because here we are talking about a technology that is evaluated at hundreds of billions of dollars. We're talking about a project in the United States, and in order to build a UST high-speed hub, it will take hundreds of millions of dollars to do so. And we all understand here that we get an opportunity to earn from the process. And it's okay to earn commission for your work. And for the last 10 or even 11 years of the existence of the investment crowdfunding, we have been working in that area, earning commission. And here we have a very consistent path. We have a stake in a company whose assets are capitalizing, because you know what's happening. You bought pre-IPO shares at one price, now the price is bigger, and then a time will come when we will receive dividends from those pre-IPO shares, and then a time will come when we can sell part of our shares and get a one-off payment. But also, if we participate in the crowdfunding, investment crowdfunding, we can already start earning money by putting efforts into promotion, in promoting and attracting investments into the company, Global Transport Investments, which owns the technology. And we get a chance to earn commission from that activities even before the payout starts in the future. That's cool. That's really good. So we have different sources of income. We have the income coming from the growth of our assets, the pre-IPO shares that we have, plus earning commission by attracting new investors. It's the same as, for example, if a developer would give you an opportunity to buy an apartment in a building that is about to be built. And they tell you, since you're a privileged client, I also allow you to earn commission if you bring new buyers of other apartments in the building that I'm building. And they also will be able to buy apartments at a discounted price. So you earn your commission from bringing in new customers, but also once the building is constructed, you will also own apartment in that building, and you can either keep that apartment once the building is built, or you can rent it out and earn residual income or passive income, or you can sell that apartment at the market price and get a big payout. You see the analogy, the metaphor here, right? The comparison. And we have a very good investment tool on our hands, investment crowdfunding tool, thanks to which the string transportation technology was implemented over the years, because it was funded exclusively through us, small-time private investors. When I'm saying small-time, because in the light of the entire technology, those investments can really be called small. But of course, I'm in no way trying to offend anyone by saying that we are small time. It does not diminish the importance of our activity. But you know, what's the main motto of our platform, new platform? Micro and global, through small efforts, achieving huge result, global result. So this is a huge achievement, and huge milestones have been achieved over that period of time. However, it is important to understand, friends, that we should not rest on our laurels, we should not be complacent, because we do remember that the company has reached its break-even point in terms of covering its operational costs. But everything related to innovations, improvement of the already existing models, and the creation of new developments requires additional funding too. So, friends, investment crowdfunding, investment crowd investing is as relevant as ever. So we should support the processes or works aimed at technology improvement. I saw that in February, we saw a considerable decline in terms of numbers, in terms of funds raised. Friends, we need to be fully aware here. If we want to call ourselves full-fledged members of crowd investing community, we should take responsibility for the development of the technology. Therefore, I urge you to use this time that we still have in February while we're preparing to transition to the new platform. I would like you to be more active in working with your potential clients, because right now, to invite people to become investors into the string transportation technology is way easier than it used to be 4, 5, 7 years ago. Why? Because right now you have things to show. You have things to show, to be proud of. You show people the achievements of the company, of the UST technology, and you tell them, like, pal, look. Well, in a friendly manner, pal. You can call them whatever you want. You can tell them it would be silly to deny that this high-tech company that has future. It would be silly to deny or say that this technology is not going to be implemented in dozens of countries. Why? Because we have A, B, C, and D. And you should show them the scale of this market and why the capitalization of their investments will happen. And this, knowing this, understanding this, that it is easier to promote today, not like we showed people just blueprints and books written by Dr. Initsky from his first biography books, something from his website, like 100 answers and questions and answers. I remember we had such a guidelines on the string transportation technology. We had to convince people, talk them into it. Back then, it was all about faith and trust in Unitsky. And Dr. Unitsky showed that he put his money where his mouth was. And now it is easier for us to show facts people, and it's easier to make people join, showing them actual things already achieved. So all of you, over all those years that you've been part of the crowd investing, working with your people, I'm sure you have dozens of people who haven't become clients, who haven't become investors, who are still somewhere on the sidelines, observing or not observing. Probably they heard about it in 2016 and then forgot about it. Just remind them that the company is developing, show them the results achieved by the company. And right now, it is the situation when a person doesn't become investor for two reasons. Either they haven't looked fully into the material in the project, or they don't have any money to invest. Or a third option, probably they're just silly and they do not think about their future. Gulnara says, we need a promotional video. There is a very good video, UST presentation on the official UST YouTube channel, talking about the technology. It's a 4-minute video, more than enough. It shows everything that the company already has, although this video is already 1 or 2 years old. But even if it's 2 years ago, back then the company had more than enough to showcase and to show to the potential investors the technology is viable. Right now you can show them this video that they have on YouTube, or even an article about the 10 years of progress. They will take 5 minutes to read it and then throw in a couple of more videos, and for sure all of the questions will be answered. Of course, when we launch our platform, we're going to have the training how to talk to people, how to approach the fundraising topic, etc. But many of you are already seasoned partners, experienced investors. Many of you worked in Swig, and Swig had a very good school on how to make sales. Many of you learned to do that from Skyworld community, I'm sure. Someone of you worked and studied with me on this week platform. I remember here we also launched quite a lot of different trainings. Right now, we have an already established audience who are ready to move fast and quick to the new platform. And there, of course, will have to be as active as possible. A completely different marketing plan will be used there. You will have an opportunity to build your career path for the next 2 3 years and to set your own financial goals. And you will be earning decent and indecent money for sure. It will all depend on you. Of course, we will have a meeting on Micron Global Marketing Plan and all of its nuances. I wanted to do it this meeting today, but for technical reasons, we weren't able to have the meeting last week. And then this important news was published that we've looked into today. And it took better priority compared to what I was going to tell you and what we were planning to discuss, because the news was too important to skip it. It's my opinion. It was very important to read about it and to take note of it, especially now. Okay, friends. Today is the 23rd of February. Not yet. It's the 22nd of February, so it's not yet the men's holiday, the army holiday, which is celebrated in the former Soviet countries. No, it's still the 22nd of February, at least in my country, so too early to congratulate. So friends, just think about it. Think about the sheer scale of achievements and what is the company working on right now. And think about the perspective, the prospects of our work in the crowd investing sector. It's a whole industry. It's a very profitable niche. And we are the pioneers, pathfinders. We are the founders, at least in the CIS region. Nobody did anything which is even barely comparable to what we've done. And none other than us has such a rich background and so many things to show for it. And the only path here is forward and scaling up and share it with others. Just think about it. Take a look at it from a different angle. Just think about how it can change your life, both financially and most importantly, how it can allow you to do what you enjoy doing. If you like talking to people, if you like communicating with intellectually developed people, to hone your skills of convincing people, it's persuasion. It's all about our company. I always thought that what we're doing is the easiest job ever. It's the easiest hobby ever that allows you to earn money. Why? Because what we're doing is talking to people. And we do that since childhood. We all communicate and talk since we were children. The only difference is the topic and what kind of result comes out of this communication. And here we are giving a lot of people an opportunity to change their lives. Financially, we allow them to become co-owners of a high technological, promising company. And those people will be very thankful to you in the future for such an opportunity. And if you are going to improve your skills in that particular area, it's going to be profitable for you as well. And the only way you can improve those skills is by practicing those skills, becoming professionals, and making more money at the same time. And most importantly, if you like doing it, then There is nothing better in this life than doing something that you love doing and that brings you joy. And many of you, I'm sure, dear friends, are at the right place because you enjoy doing what you're doing. So, on this note, dear friends, I would like to finish the first and the main part of our today's meeting, dedicated to a huge event, which is the 10 years anniversary of the engineering company and the results of their activities, which we all contributed to. And now, dear friends, I would like to touch upon, if you have something to add here or write about regarding what we've already discussed. I see someone says, hello from Philadelphia. Congratulations to the company with the creative, productive achievements. Let's keep the nature clean for future generations. We have a message like this from the United States. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, it says just iPhone. The message doesn't have your name, but still, thank you very much for that. What else did we have here? Just give me a second. I will have some of your messages translated. I see Saeed wrote something. This is a life changing for all of us. I fully agree with you, Mr. Saeed. I live in America, Galina says. It is very difficult for me to refer this project to people because it is difficult for them to pay from America. Well, people from America can pay crypto because in the United States, people are very familiar and friendly with crypto. Yeah, you can't use your bank card to make a payment from the United States, but crypto is available. Surav is asking when 15th stage will be completed. Well, friends, if we go back to the conditions and criteria for the completion of stages, then it's the stage 15 will be completed when the high-speed transportation will be completed. But I think changes will be made to the original plan because the implementation of the high-speed transportation system involves certain changes in the fundraising process, that it's not only going to be implemented through crowd investing, but also from other investment sources, big investors probably, financial institutions, etc. So currently, this is my answer. Whether there will be actual changes, well, we'll have to see. Galina says, not everyone has crypto. You're absolutely right. Not everyone has crypto, but today is like, it can be compared to the time when not everyone had bank cards, Visa and MasterCard. Gradually, everyone received them. Like telephones, not everyone had the first telephones. Now everybody has telephones. So you have to gradually learn how to use those financial instruments. And there is nothing really difficult about it. You just download an application on your phone. For that, you need to just purchase crypto. And I'm sure that in the United States, there are ways of depositing money on your crypto wallets and withdrawing your funds from your crypto wallets. You just have to dedicate a little bit of your time to learning more about it. So someone says a lot of partners did not have their pre-IPO shares transferred from SWIG to RSW systems. Yes, this is something I wanted to talk about it. TNG to RSW. This is something that I wanted to talk about it. Remember, I did mention it in the beginning of my meeting. But let me first take other questions, and then we will go back to the transfer of pre-IPO shares from TNG to RSW. I have two questions. Can we finish our installments plans for 2023, 2023, 24, 23? How can we change my sponsor on the new platform, Micron? What do you mean by uh, You're saying delayed payments for 2024. So if they were due but you didn't pay for those packages, then probably they have been canceled. We need to specify that. As for the sponsor on the new platform, Micron, you will get the chance to choose your sponsor upon registration. And I mentioned what you need to do 2 meetings ago, how to do that. So for that, you need to choose your sponsor, call all the members of your current team, and once the registration is launched, you will get a referral link. Your sponsor will give you their link, and then you will pass on that link to other people. Claudia Pivnova says, hopefully, high-speed transportation will not be removed from the total assets. I already announced, Claudia, that we, being the first investors, will have up to 5% of stake in the high-speed transportation technology. So we are not going to be kicked out. We will have a stake up to 5% in the high-speed transportation, being the first investors. Next. Nikolai says, go to any crypto exchange and you can take the training course how to purchase crypto using peer-to-peer. In my country, it's very easy, really, on different exchanges. I'm using it myself. I don't know how it works in the United States, Galina. Just you'll have to, look into it. Binance, for sure, I think is active in the United States. No, US Binance should be there. So I'm using Binance, but in my country, talking about peer-to-peer. Good. Someone says, good evening, Maxim. Will everything be transferred to the new platform? Well, if you plan to work on the new, will everyone to move to the new platform? If you want to be an active investor and partner, yes, of course, you'll have to move to the new platform. Let me see what Surav asked here. When high-speed crowdfunding will be started? Very, very good question, Surav. Mr. Surav Jati. Well, once the financial legal framework is ready for that in the United States, it is in the preparation right now. We're talking about the financial legal framework to make sure that everything is done legally. We're talking about a financial engineering company being set up. The whole framework is being developed right now. A group of legal entities that would operate according to the US law. And as soon as it is ready, I'm sure the company will announce it, and then we will be able to start actively funding the crowdfunding, the high-speed transportation. So right now, what we're doing today is also very important because this is the reason why we will already have up to 5% stake in the high-speed transportation, being already people who are already invested in the project. So right now we will need funds that will come from the investment crowdfunding to help even more the high-speed transportation. But remember, I told you that in the months of February, we had quite a considerable decline in the sales volume. So I urge you to work with your client list. Probably you want to increase your own portfolio because funding from the crowd investing is very important right now. Will there be a video teaching us how to move from the old platform to the new platform? Well, Gulnara, we can, of course, make a video, but it's going to be very easy. You just use the same email address that you have in RSW. We're not going to discuss Micron Global right now, okay? Because this is the topic for our next meeting. Remember, I promised that our entire meeting will be dedicated to Micron, transition, installment plans that haven't yet been paid in full, everything. related to micron will be discussed next meeting, okay? So let's not talk about micron for now. The meeting that we had that was also published in the form of recording, there were comments related to a very topical, relevant question regarding the transfer of TNG SWIG to RSW. And many people can see the pre-IPO shares in the new back office. We will talk about it, friends. I will take two last questions, and that's it. Please do not write anything to me because we don't have enough time for that. We have like 15-20 minutes left only. So I have like 30 minutes tops, and I need that time to answer a very important question because it is of interest to many ex-partners, clients of SWIG, and we have a lot of such clients. And I need to answer that question and for everyone to have an understanding what to do and how to do it. So I will take 3 comments, and that's it. Please do not ask any more questions, okay? The next one is, in 2024, our partner is writing Surav Jyoti Chuthore, I guess our partner from India. He says, in 2024, Ulight successfully passed all tests, confirmed its efficiency, and started transporting passengers and cargo. This is not a theory, but a real technology that already changed the usual transport. Another big news is that Karat UST Inc., blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is clear. We have 2 projects at the final stage, one in Europe, one is Asia. This year they are moving to the construction sites. After that, all key details will be revealed. New routes are on their way, string transport. So you're just copy-pasting one of the recent news. And your question is, which countries do you think the next routes will appear in? I have got the above message in some other platform. May I know if this is true? Okay, dear partner from India, what we should use is only the official information published by the UST or the engineering company, either by the company in the United Arab Emirates or in Minsk. So everything written there is official news. Everything else should be taken with a hint of doubt, okay? So if we're talking about Ulight, Karat, etc., about the projects in Asia and Europe, friends, I'm not ready to answer you this question because I am in no position to disclose things that have not been officially published on the official website. As for other next routes, only the Lord knows when it's going and where it's going to happen, and probably Dr. Nitsky knows about it, but if he says nothing about it, then probably there is a reason for that, why he is not yet revealing his plans. But I do not want to do any guesswork here, or like using a crystal ball or something. You see, there is also have a globe right there, and then I can give it a spin and then put my finger and says, here we'll have the next track. No, we're not gonna do that, okay? So what else we have? When will the high-speed transportation start in India? And what is the rank of India in the world in installing high-speed transportation? Well, as far as India is concerned, you know that the string transportation technology has been supported by the Minister of Transportation of India. And the prospects of that particular technology, string transportation technology, on such a big country as India are very big too. So the place of India is very strategic. And in India, there is a company's representative office as well. So the prospects are very big. As far as the high-speed transportation is concerned, yes, the prospects are very good as well because the country is big and there is a need to connect points over big territory. And the possibilities offered by the string transportation are very huge indeed, and the prospects are very big indeed. And in India, especially, it's one of the, I guess, priority countries where it should be implemented because, being from India, what kind of passenger capacity we're talking about, and also the logistical problems. I was in India, I was in Delhi, I was in Goa. Well, Delhi is a metropolitan area with, I guess, hundreds of thousands of cars and traffic jams. It's a huge problem. What I was really surprised when you're driving a car, everyone is honking, and probably people are doing it just because there is a honk. Just they're beeping all the time just because they can. For some reason, in my country, you do it only if you need to do it, really need to do it. But in India, people seem to enjoy honking. And I saw that 90% of cars in India were scratched or bumped, probably because there is not a lot of respect for traffic rules. And this is another sign why high-speed string transportation technology is very important to implement in India to lessen the burden of traffic by implementing this new technology. This is one of the big priorities for India and for the company to be deployed in India. So what else do we have here? Someone is saying about Germany. Just give me a second. Please, how can I get it in English? I'm listening to you from Germany. Oh, I think our moderator already gave you the answer to that. There is like a translation button at the bottom. You can click on it and choose English, and you will be set. Okay, friends. Now we have 20 minutes left, and I will try to use that time and I will bring up one of my previous meetings, the recording of one of our previous meetings, and let's read together the comment to that video. Just give me a couple of seconds, friends. Can you see my screen, friends? Colleagues? Yes? Okay, good. Okay, thank you. So let me read it out for you. Last meeting, a question was asked by one of our clients, an investor from Romania, if I'm not mistaken. She was asking about the fact that her mother's, if I'm not mistaken, her mother's pre-IPO shares were transferred from SWIG to RSW and hers and her brother's were not. And I explained why and what needs to be done and why it happened. And then there were comments under the video. So this is the video, you see. It's a live broadcast with Maxim Isyp as of 8th of February. And more than 2,000 views in 12 days. And there were comments. How should we know who you worked with and who was the middleman who sold us the pre-IPO shares? There was one company for everyone, Skyway, that's it. Another comment in here, and you understand why I'm talking about it, because this topic relates to quite a lot of people, especially partners from Kazakhstan, the CIS countries, and everyone who worked with SWIG faced this situation. I will read those comments for you, some of those comments with accusations against us, but I will show you the logical connection here and the timeline of events, how it happened. And I hope that will clear this issue once and forever. At the webinars, you always say that automatically pre-IPO shares were supposed to be transferred from SWIG to the RSW, but the support did not do anything about it, and the account was not activated. We had to get a new password every time. And you're saying that we weren't registered in the parent company, so it's your problem. If you didn't agree with the SWIG owners, you had to warn us. Address the issue. Where should we go in order for people not to lose time? We've been waiting for 10 years and nothing to show for it. Okay, and next comment. Why can't we get into our personal back office, SWIG TNG, address the issue? We are not to blame that something changed in your relations with Havratov. We invested in Skyway, and the company received money from us for the development, and now you're creating problems for people. Because did our money reach the final beneficiary, the company, or did Havratov took all the money to himself? And when was the information that we had to re-register on the new platform? Why people weren't warned? So where did you tell us, they're asking, that we should have registered on a new platform? Why didn't you warn us? It seems like the company wants to appropriate, take part of the pre-IPO shares of people who didn't re-register. And your support says that they don't have access to the TNG and they do not offer any help to re-register on RSW. And your support did not provide any procedure for the person to take in order to move from TNG, SWIG, to RSW. Well, you see the meaning right here, the essence. There are some partners from our platform who faced a situation where their pre-IPO shares haven't been transferred, or they can't see their name in the registry of shareholders. Okay, let's go one by one here. Let's see who is who. First, there is a global transport investment company who is the parent, we call it root company, and the owner of the technology, which we are co-owners of. Global Transport Investment Company since 2014 worked on its own. It was RSW Systems platform. Then the company GTI started working with SWIG Foundation, Skyway Investment Group, that was established in September 2014. And since October 2014, they started working with GTI. And then a third platform appeared, Skyway Capital. It was called back then. It was rebranded into Skyworld Community. In 2020, the agreement was cancelled between GTI and the Skyway Investment Group. So it is very important to understand here that SWIG, Skyway Invest Group, that was called back then, raised investments into the project in this way. They sold training packages, financial literacy packages, and as a bonus, people received pre-IPO shares in the GTI. So there was a accumulation of the pool in terms of money raised. SWIG company directed that money to the GTI by giving their clients, SWIG clients, to the GTI, and their names were entered into the registry. It was well, not portion by portion. It was done in groups. So once a certain pool of money was accumulated, then the relevant number of investors, their names were passed to the registry of GTI. But when the partner purchased a package, they received a certificate from SWIG signed by the founder, Andrei Khavratov. After that, the conversion procedure happened. This is what I was talking about, when this data from Swig were transferred to the holding company. And it was called conversion. And people had to go through that conversion to get the extract from the registry of shareholders of GTI, meaning that their name is added into the ERSS Holding Limited. And it was already signed by the founder of the company, Dr. Nitsky. So at first, people became clients of Swig, received a certificate from Swig. So once the conversion happened, all the data were transferred from Swig to GTI, and the person received an extract from the registry from GTI, or their name was added to the registry of shareholders in GTI. Is that clear so far? This procedure, is it clear? How it happened and what happened? You're saying yes, clear, good. So the next point, the GTI company had no direct relationship to Swig. It was not an affiliate company or a parent company. They were just business partners. Swig acted as an agent, but it was not two entities of the same company. They were just separate, independent business partners working together or not working together once the agreement was cancelled for whatever reason. Okay, this should be clear. It is not two companies of the same entity, two different legal entities, two different businesses working according to an agreement, agents agreement or cooperation intermediareship agreement, doesn't matter. What matters is there were two separate entities working on a cooperation agreement basis. How it happened, I already told you, but it was not the same company, different legal entities. Back then, the string transport, yes, different legal entities, someone says here, agree. Back then, the string transportation technology had commercial title Skyway. Back then, their commercial title was Skyway. We all know about it. But a couple of years ago, the company performed rebranding, and the technology was renamed to honor the founder. And it was called Unitsky's String Transportation, UST. So it bears the name of the founder. Now the international commercial name of the technology of the company is UST. So Skyway has been abandoned 4 years ago, at least. But in 2024, the technology was still called Skyway. That's why Andrei Khavratov's fund was called Skyway Invest Group, because that's how he promoted the technology, and that's how his business model worked. What happened in 2020? Let's go back to 2020. And I wanted to focus on it. Why weren't people warned? Someone asked. Or why didn't we say anything? Someone asked. So let me share my screen with you again. I hope you can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen, friends? Just confirm, please. Okay. So let's take a look together. It's very good that now back office, you can go and see the archive of news. And we can see an article published on the 25th of February 2020. And I will read that article to you. For you to find it, you need to go to, just give me a moment, I will get authorized in my back office. I will log in into my back office. 1 second. For you to read it as well and know how to find it. So look, once you're in your back office, you go to the archived news and you can choose the year 2020. Everyone has it in your back office. You then click on here and then you see the news. And the 25th of February, it says cease of cooperation with SWIG. And back then it was called New already. SWIG was renamed into New. And there was a warning and asking all of our clients that this cooperation is over. So what did the article say? I remember that article very well because I wrote the text and I prepared that news. 25th of February 2020, year 2020. New has proposed an acceptable form of cooperation that contains reputational and legal risks. Dear investors and partners of the Skyway Group of companies, let me repeat it, back then in 2020, the company and the technology was still called Skyway. The Skyway Group of companies thanks the new consumer community formerly known as the Investment Group RSW Investment Group Ltd under the Skyway Invest Group's week for many years of cooperation and fruitful implementation of the technology. We'd like to inform you that the Skyway Group of companies stops the cooperation, terminates the cooperation with the new consumer community formerly known as SWIG under the brand Skyway Investment Group and all the brands connected, all the legal entities connected thereto. So the group of companies informed everyone that the cooperation is over. Next, this decision of the Skyway was due to the condition put forward by the management of New SWIG for changing further cooperation and the concluded agreement. The proposed changes was that the SWIG investment group will no longer convert. You see the news and the warning here that the investment group will not convert SWIG liabilities into Eurasian Rail Skyway Systems holding pre-IPO shares. The conversion procedure implies that each client and partner of SWIG who in any way received shares of the ERSSH company was entered into the registry of the ERSS holding shareholders. You see. So the procedure of conversion implied that each client and partner of SWIG who in any way received pre-IPO shares was supposed to be entered into the registry of shareholders. Therefore, by refusing conversion, SWIG clients will not be included in the registry of ERSSH shareholders and will have obligations before the company, and Skyway will not have information about the people who contributed to the development of the technology. You see what I mean here? What people are asking, it was already mentioned and people were warned about back in 2020. There was a warning that this is what's going to happen. For the group of companies Skyway, the procedure of conversion is obligatory. And this is a major condition because only being entered into the shareholders registry is the correct confirmation of the ownership of such pre-IPO shares. Therefore, the proposed form of cooperation is not acceptable for the Skyway Group of companies because it implies unjustified reputational and legal risks. Skyway Group of companies also informs all the clients and partners of the new consumer community, Skyway Investment Group, that each client and partner of SWIG Group who received in any way pre-IPO shares of the ERSSH before the 3rd of February 2020 in SWIG. This is the date of the last conversion of the liabilities of SWIG, was entered into the registry of shareholders and can order an extract from such registry and also order the delivery of the certificate that would prove the ownership of such pre-IPO shares. In other words, those who invested into this string transportation technology through SWIG before the 3rd of February had their names entered into the registry. However, we would like to point out that the consumer community knew and investment group, Skyway Investment Group, SWIG, within their internal investment activity, creation of the global investment portfolio called CRU, crypto unit, purchased a fixed package of shares of Eurasian Rail Skyway Systems Holding. This package of pre-IPO shares cannot be reprocessed into the name of physical individuals. This package of shares is owned by the community itself and not by the individual members of that community. At the same time, Skyway Group of companies would like to meet the clients of NEMI halfway and allows them to convert their pre-IPO shares who haven't done so. You have such an opportunity, last opportunity to do it before the 15th of March this year if the management of the consumer community new decides to allow such conversion. Skyway Group of companies warns that each client and partner of SWIG who received in any way pre-IPO shares of ERSS Holding after the date of the last conversion in SWIG under the decision of SWIG will not be entered into the registry of shareholders of ERSSH and will not be able to confirm their ownership in the holding. It's also worthy to note that this decision relates only to the cooperation with the consumer community new, previously known as SWIG, Skyway Invest Group. And friends, I would like to point out that RSW Invest Group Ltd is not the same as RSW Systems that we're all on right now. Back then, the investment group owned by Andrei Khavratov was called RSW Invest Group with the brand name of Skyway Invest Group. So please do not mix those two things up. So people probably seeing RSW think that RSW Investment Group is the same as RSW Systems. They are not. We should also point out that this decision only relates or applies to the cooperation to new or SWIG and all related legal entities. Cooperation with other partners, including Skyway Capital and Skyworld Community, it was back then it was called this way, and RSW Systems continue on the same terms. Skyway Investment Group of companies values every investor and protects their interests. Respectfully, management of the Skyway Invest Group of companies. Where is the chat? And Raisa, thank you very much. Kiparina says, they did warn and they did explain how to move to the parent company. And Gulnara says, even if you explain 1001 time, you still have to explain it again. Then it goes in English. Okay, the essence here, friends, is those comments that were left under the recording of my last broadcast meeting is that the company had to warn colleagues. Everyone has been warned 5 years ago when everything happened. Right back then, when the agreement was terminated, everyone has been warned, informed, and it was said that the first deadline was before the 3rd of February, all those people were automatically moved to the new registry. And those who didn't were able to do so and submit their application before the 15th of March. But we went even farther. All the people who purchased pre-IPO shares through SWIG, who became co-owners of the technology through SWIG, all of them had the opportunity to do the conversion through our platform, RSW Systems, if you had the same email address that you used in SWIG. In other words, a person who did not convert through SWIG before the deadline, the 15th of March, if they registered on our website and their email address matched the email address they used in SWIG, all of their pre-IPO shares were transferred to our platform, could be displayed on our platform. This is A. B. If a person, a client of SWIG, did not have the conversion, did not run the conversion, and they registered with the same email, and because they didn't do the conversion back then, they couldn't see their pre-IPO shares manually. Our support helped those clients to go through that procedure. They showed their extract from the back office, the screenshot from the back office from SWIG, and those people were manually, their names were manually entered into the registry. And what happened next? Right now, the website, the servers of SWIG, where the section of the investments into string transportation technology doesn't work, and we cannot influence that in no way, in any way. Go to the management, go to Armand Murnieks, you all know and love him, or used to love him back then, who was actively promoting Dr. Unitsky and string transportation, and then decided to change the horses midstream. There is Mila Surdukova there as well, who is still related to the managerial structure and activities. Why can't they pay for the servers, for the domain, and why can't they address the issue? I guess this question should be addressed to them and not to us. We will gladly help any investor into the string transportation technology if we had a possibility to do that, capability, but we cannot access their servers. And if you cannot log in into your SWIG back office, I don't think it's our problem. I hope once Andrei Khavratov gets out of the predicament that he is right now, he will work out a solution, because I'm sure that Andrei Khavratov is a very responsible person. And when he learns that his clients are facing such a problem, I'm sure he will find a way how to solve this problem. So my advice to you, dear partners and colleagues who are facing this situation, I would like to ask you to try to understand whether you have a back office in RSW system using the same email address. If you do, everything should be fine. And if it's not, and if you are kind of in a suspended state right now, we cannot do anything in this situation. Gulnara says Mila and Armand are waiting for Khavratov, probably. I personally wrote to Armand. He didn't read my message because I did write to him. He didn't read the message, didn't answer. I asked him to address this whole server domain related problem. What I could, I did on my side. I can try and call him if he picks up the phone and he decides to answer. But we did all we could, and we cannot jump higher than our heads, you know. So what we could, we did, and all those accusations against us should be null and void, you know. I showed you an article published 5 years ago. Today is the 22nd of February. And that article was published on the 25th of February, but 5 years ago. That's when I published this article. I personally remember preparing this article. It was the months when I became the head of the RSW systems. I personally wrote that text, that article, and all that material. 5 years have passed, exactly 5 years. So there should be no claims against us, friends, here, because we did all we could and we are fulfilling all of our obligations before all of our clients. This is A, and B, we are trying to find a way to help people in predicaments and such difficult situations. Said says, oh no, Nitish says, there is no Swig support team plus Armand and Mila intentionally do not respond. Well, that's what I'm telling you. I tried to reach out. Claudia says, nonsense. You have data for your clients in the registry. They are asking for help and you are doing nothing. What do you mean nonsense? Are you telling me that I'm saying nonsense, Claudia? She says yes. Then Claudia, nonsense nonsense is what you're saying during your meetings when you're telling people about the prospects of the string transportation technology. That's what should be called nonsense. I guess I should ban your access to the back office because you are misleading people. This is A. And B, we do not have data about the clients who invested into string transportation technology through another platform and who did not do the conversion. And I just explained to you what was the procedure, what the procedure was, how it happened, and why people weren't entered into the registry. Registered were transferred until 2020. Yes, but there are people who invested, continued investing even in 2022 into string transportation technology. Why Swig stopped them, didn't stop them from doing that, I don't know. The agreement terminated in 2020. Why Swig allowed people to invest in the string transportation after 2020, I don't know. She's saying, I am talking about those who invested before 2020. Those who invested before 2020, their names were transferred into the database of GTI. No problems there. Please don't tell me I'm saying nonsense. But about the meetings that you are holding and things you are saying on your YouTube channel, this is what can be called nonsense, or at least not correct information. But we will talk about it in person. Because what you're writing right now, Claudia, they cannot see their pre-IPO shares even if they enter the correct email address. You're implying that we're trying to dodge responsibility here. If they can see their pre-IPO shares, it means Swig did not transfer the shares they were supposed to transfer. It is not our responsibility. This is not that should be put against us or that we should be blamed for it. Everything that was supposed to be transferred was transferred. Let me show it to you. Let me share my screen. Look, there's a person here. He says, when this Alexander Hemi wrote about all those accusations, etc., there was a guy, our partner said, sites weak TNG very often will work again, but there is no need for that. The guys from the support helped me. I changed my email and now I have the name in the registry. In RSW portfolio and finance, I saw all of my pre-IPO shares. And then he said, thank you, etc., etc. So basically, if you use the same email, everything was synchronized. He says again, I changed my email and I saw all my pre-IPO shares with the help of the support service, customer support service. If for some of the clients, Swig delivered on their liability obligations and performed conversion, you will see that conversion in the RSW systems. But if some of the shares were not transferred, it is not up to us. We're not to blame. Gulnara says you should address those issues, questions to Havratov or to Armand and Mila. So, Claudia, if you're promoting that company, that platform, take up the initiative and address it with your management and not tell me that I'm saying nonsense while I'm trying to protect our partners and our clients. Okay, friends, I hope that this question was addressed once and for all. And on our side, we did everything that we could, and what we can do or we won't do. So you have to address your issue to the platform whose client you were. Okay, friends, we had a very good 2 hour plus meeting, and I congratulate all the clients and investors into the string transportation technology on huge achievements and big results achieved by the company that no other company can boast of. Company, I mean, who are in the same high-speed transportation. Only UST in just 10 years were able to create a product, is bringing it to the market, and very soon we will see a large-scale development of this technology absolutely across the entire world. Also in 10 years, as we were able to see, there were partners that the company terminated cooperation with due to objective reasons, trying to protect its rights and trying to protect against the reputational risks. Also, we saw that in 10 years, there were millions of people who supported the development of the technology, UST technology, who supported the idea of Dr. Unitsky to make this world a better place. And this is a community that is growing. And the investment crowdfunding played a key role in that process. And what kind of prospects we can have with the new updated platform will be discussed next Thursday at 6 p.m. Kiev time, CET plus 2, and we will discuss our immediate future and what kind of place investment crowdfunding will take in the development of the string transportation technology and what kind of benefits and prospects it will give you. Thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen, again, and thank you for your feedback. Thank you. Someone says, thank you very much for clear explanation of all the issues. Thank you very much for your feedback, Mr. Dobro. And I would like, Suraj says thank you. Thanks. Thank you as well. So again, thank you for your feedback. See you next Thursday at the same time. And have a nice Saturday evening and good Sunday tomorrow. And one more reminder, let's get into the fifth gear, okay? Let's try to increase our sales and attract more people into the technology. Bye-bye, everyone, and I wish you productive work.